I want to give you some tips in parenting the internally motivated child. This child sees their voice and value as equal to you. Now, I'm telling you the way it is, not the way you want it to be. And that's a really hard thing for some parents to get. Now, this doesn't mean that you're not their authority. It means when you play this card, it's best that it's rare and it's for important things. If not, they will view you as controlling and not able to really intelligently explain the whys in why you're making these requests to them. And their whys are they're really trying to understand the systems, trying to understand the thoughts, trying to collect data. They are absorbers, and they're really collecting data so they can make better decisions. So if all they get is because I said so, it's not going to work for them. This child's not trying to be difficult or adversarial. They just want to be respected, really respected, and have things explained to them in a way they can make sense of them. Now, they don't have abstract reasoning as they're growing up, so you have to kind of go where they are, not where you are. This child is most likely going to be a leader of some sort. They are designed to want to make decisions, and how to make decisions is really important to them. If you accept that you are training them to make decisions, then give them decisions to make, even the smaller ones. Now, let me give you an example of giving decisions when you don't really have to. Now, I'm going to go much more into detail on this in Parenting a Child That Challenges You and the other one. So definitely get the DVD. My daughter is internally motivated, kind of like her dad. We live a half hour from the school, and she had cheerleading practice. Now, if I picked her up and said, hey, we're going to go to a certain restaurant, she would start to pout because she had no voice, and she would feel disrespected. And even if she genuinely liked that restaurant, the meal would be silent and kind of pouty. Now, because I understand she's internally motivated, I don't disrespect her. I respect her. And I know she likes to make decisions. And if she makes a decision, it's a better thing for everybody. So, however, when I pick her up and I said to her, here are 3 choices. Pick one. She would be happy no matter where she picked because she got respected, she was heard, and it'd be pleasant. I just had to be okay with any of the choices I gave her. And that's the trick in parenting this child, is you have to be okay with any choice you give this child because they will make a choice and they will want that choice to be the final word if you give them the power to make that decisions. The internally motivated child demands way more creativity from you than the other child. And they're not going to go with just because I said so. That kind of parenting is not really helpful for this because it's zero learning. They're not learning how to make a decision. They're not learning how you made a decision. And not even learning why that decision is important. Honestly, you are co-parenting with them and teaching them to make decisions. Now, this will pay off the rest of their life. It's going to be hard on you when you're raising a leader, but it's going to pay off the rest of your life. And you also want to answer all those why questions. They're creating, as I told you, this database so they can make good decisions. And you are the most available, massive data bank that they have access to. So they're going to pummel you with trying to take out, deposits from your data bank so they get transferred from you to them. There is so much more I can go into about them and their future. And it's really important how you label that child. You do not want to label them as stubborn. Okay, they are persistent. They have a discipline about them that you want to respect and honor. And if you do, you're going to have a much better relationship with them. If not, it's going to feel like this constant war zone. So if you're feeling as a parent or grandparent that you're in a war zone with this child, I get this information because it just means you're not managing their motivational style correctly. Because when you do, they love you and they want to hear what you have to say because you want to hear what they have to say. Well, I need to move on. The externally motivated child, they are a gift as well. And they truly will make you believe that you're an awesome parent because for the most part, they're compliant. As it relates to decisions, they're not looking for more than one option. Your decision's fine with them, and it makes you feel good, right? They're looking for you to do that for them because they're externally motivated, because they process more thoroughly, thinking how this affects several people, shorter term and longer term, making decisions. You have to give this child some time to make decisions, sometimes an hour, sometimes a day, even a couple days, depending how big it is. Now, this makes them feel respected. If you say, Sue or Bob, listen, here's something I want you to think about. Can we have a conversation maybe in a couple hours or tomorrow about that? I want you to think about your decision on that. Well, that makes them feel respected, because they now know that it takes them a while to think through all the consequences of that decision. However, if you don't give them a deadline, they may never decide. So you have to kind of work with that. Now, as it relates to conflict, they will need to learn this skill, especially if they have an internally motivated sibling, because that sibling is going to want to do conflict to practice, okay? And they're going to want to practice with their sibling, teaching them to slow the process down, asking for a moment to answer one question at a time, teaching them that they can ask for permission to say, hey, I need some time to think about that. They're not the one who's going to come up with fast answers, okay? They need to be able to stand their ground without being labeled slow, okay, or unintelligent, or by their siblings and some other name that would be not good for them. Sometimes that is fun. It's one-on-one, asking them how they got to a decision. Now, if you ask the externally motivated child, how did you get there? They can tell you. Well, I thought about how this would affect mom, and I thought about how this would affect dad, and I thought it would take more time away from here. And you'll be really amazed at how the variables they consider making a decision. And it really will affirm to them and to you how thoroughly they think. And you want to tell them there's wisdom in the way they think. It takes longer, but there's wisdom. Asking them what could go wrong also is a way of honoring the externally motivated child, because they see flaws. They see consequences, unlike your other child. And they can be a warning of things, okay? Teaching them that this has value and adding this skill is helping them to solve problems. This is really helpful for them. This will serve them in their life if they have the creativity to solve the flaws or the consequences that they see. They see something can be improved when they take their gift of seeing what can go wrong with someone else's gift of how they can get it done. And that is really one of the fun things when you can get them to work together. Because in business and in life and in marriage, you're going to need that balance of someone who can see things that can be done and those people who can see things that are in the way of getting it done. Now, honestly, there is so much more I cover in the DVD so that you can parent the child that challenges you and the other one, and that you can accept them as a gift from God. They both are gifts from God. They both have callings in time. They both are precious. And if you work with them, it's a lot easier than working against their design. Now, here at Healing Times, we encourage you to do things in groups. So get some other parents together, walk through these concepts, and you can be a blessing to them as well. Now, this whole parenting thing, it's a journey. So I want to just say, give yourself some grace, but get as educated as you possibly can. Parenting is a lifelong process, and I still understand how my adult children operate, and I still know to do with them differently. Even if it's the same decision, I need to start here for one, and right now the other one will give it to me immediately. You can have a great time with these precious gifts. You can accelerate them understanding themselves. That's what you can do as a parent, as you, the Lord, and your spouse walk through this journey together.